Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for attending our webinar today. As you're going to see, it's a very interesting subject, passionating subject, a lot of demand. We've received a lot of questions, a lot of information people want to have regarding AI, regarding Copilot. So as you'll see, we've done it in French maybe a month ago. It's something that we had a lot of demand for. We wanted to mostly educate customers about AI, about Microsoft Copilot. So the goal of the whole presentation here will really be to talk about AI in general, as you're going to see, and then dive into specifics with Microsoft Copilot. And then we've kept a small part at the end, as you're going to see, with tips and tricks. So my name is Nicolas. I'm Director of Sales here at Cellulan. Been here for a few years. I have the great pleasure of presenting with Juan Lucero. Juan, who is our rep located in Miami, Business Development Manager. So Juan, feel free to introduce yourself.
Of course. Thank you all for joining today. My name is Juan Lucero, and I'm the Business Development Manager for Sutherland here in the US region. And just wanted to share with you guys, I'm extremely excited to talk about AI. A lot of exciting things have been announced recently. This is now our official second webinar in English, in which we're trying to expand a little bit more, make sure that we educate others, and there's no English or French barrier between the content stays the same. So definitely very excited to be here. And in today's agenda, we're going to be talking about AI. So we're going to dive into, an intro to AI. What is AI in the first place, right? I don't even know how to use ChatGPT. I've heard about GPT, but we're going to get into it. But first and foremost, I want to introduce you guys to who is Sutherland, right? Who are we? What do we do? And what do we strive in? So on the various different services that we utilize, we provide either assistance with co-managed services or IT services, meaning that if you already have an existing IT team, and you're looking to empower them, make sure that they focus and specialize in different areas more, we are that sort of extension of your team, of your IT team, right? Making sure that they can focus on their projects that they have, protecting your environment, and we're on the back end doing all the work. Now, in regards to IT services, let's say you're just starting out, you need a part of IT within your infrastructure, but you don't know who to go. You can entrust in us to go ahead and take care from the beginning to end, to ensure that you're kept in the loop, that we show you the sort of development that we've done to your infrastructure, that we plan with you and we build it to your liking and your choosing, and we protect you. And yeah, so we can also dive into the world of cloud. So if you're hosting anything or any information on the cloud, we can more than happy protect you on that as well. And cybersecurity is a huge factor for our company and what we strive in, right? Always being proactive and always taking the next steps of protecting our clients. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into the world of AI, right? So let's go ahead and talk about AI. So AI and its many names. So artificial intelligence, it can be defined as like a branch of a computer to simulate human intelligence, right? We hear this in very different names, whether it's ChatGPT, Grok, which happens to be X or formerly known as Twitter's AI, DALI, which generates images, Gemini, which happens to be Google's AI, and of course, what most of you guys are here for today, Copilot. So Microsoft's AI. And the thing about AI is it learns constantly by repeating certain tasks, and it input like all these tasks that are within this infrastructure, within this model, which is called the larger language model. It can pick up certain algorithms and tasks from it and generate it all into one, or into an outcome that you would like to choose. And for example, I went ahead and generated this eye image of the Pope giving a presentation on AI in a large stadium, a crowd full of people, right? So, in your imagination can create a bunch of different products or outcomes towards it. You can increase productivity, but I want to get into how AI started even in the first place, right? So when you're talking about AI, when did it all begin? And this term has been used for years now, where in 1950 it was first used as artificial intelligence, and then now backtracking all the way to November of 2022, which was the launch of ChatGPT to the public. Now, in that grand scheme of things, and in the space in between, there's been tons of development towards machine learning to organize all these vast majority of algorithms and data systems, all to the point where they made sure to do it all under one, which is the LLM, the larger language model, and make it the form of use to the public. Right now, you're able to leverage these sort of algorithms and these databases to create and generate something. Right. So then when we're getting into ChatGPT, right, starting off with ChatGPT, which is the one that's the most popular AI out there, if you put it into retrospect of the users that it only took ChatGPT 3 months to get over 100 million users. Now, of course, that rapid speed and growth, you can see it that when there's a huge advancement in technology like cell phones or the internet or even Facebook and social media platforms, it's taken us time to adapt and get to know it and utilize it to a point where it becomes natural or a second hand of what we're doing on our day to day. Now, if you put that into perspective with ChatGPT, in just 3 short months, almost 100 million users have utilized this platform and this AI into leveraging it to their everyday workforce, into finding resources. But let's take a little bit more of a deep dive into what ChatGPT is, right? So ChatGPT, it's contextual awareness. So it's very aware in the different types of words that you provide, in the key form of either emotion or language that you provided. From, hey, I want to create something exciting, or hey, make this very serious. Now, what you want to create, it's all up to you, right? This is a broad knowledge base. So if you want to go in there and search up, hey, ChatGPT, tell me everything there is to know about AI, or you could also ask it, Chat, can you explain AI to dummies? Like if I've never ever touched a computer before, and it picks up on these sort of languages and these creativities that you're providing it on the search engine, and then it solves it all. It goes into the language in the larger language model, and it picks up certain key form of coding, or let's say of terms that it has asked in the past, and then it provides a response or answer, right? So you can get it to do coding, to do any sort of creative work, and create something for you, or you could even do it for multi-language support. So let's say Sutherland, a very established in Canada, very French dominant speaking company, and now here we have it in the US and the States. So when I communicate with my employees, or my coworkers, or even clients out in Canada and their French speaking dominance, I can have that support right away to go ahead and translate anything in a matter of seconds, or get a point across, or make sure that the grammar is properly set whenever I'm, explaining that or explaining something to someone in a different language. So the opportunities are endless when you're talking about Chat GPT and the different types of things that you can create. Now, the evolution towards ChatGPT, right? It first started as ChatGPT 3.5, and the paid version, which you guys might know of ChatGPT 4, has now evolved into ChatGPT 4.0 in this past couple of weeks that it was announced. Now, what was enhanced? What happened? What broke the news that everybody was talking about ChatGPT 4? Well, it's important for us to let you guys know as well, right? We're here to learn a little bit about Microsoft and Copilot, but it's important to know the big guys in the field and what they're doing to develop this industry and this tool and this technology, right? And the evolution that they've done, if they made Chat GPT 5 times as faster, you have more access to a larger set of training and data, and that you can pick and choose from. So they provide the information way faster. They have a camera integration now built in, so it could pick up on a lot of different things. And Nico, I'm not sure about you, but we both saw the video. We were intrigued by it. A lot of different emotions on how it could pick up on what we're wearing, what it could do. It could talk to even another AI. I mean, what are some thoughts about that on the new development from your end?
Well, I'd say if you want to have a look, go on YouTube, go check out GPT 4.0. You're going to see that it's pretty special, pretty scary as well, what it can do. But it's just the beginning of it, right? We've seen recently development with ChatGPT where you can create videos, like actual videos from anything. Now you could actually analyze anything visual, even with the voice, and create content, and play around with it, ask questions. It's pretty scary. Even the voice that you get and the
Hmm.
interaction with the robot, it's pretty
It
special.
it sounds
Juan,
like
quick,
you're talking to a human. Yeah. Hmm.
exactly, quick thing. Can you talk a bit more about prompting? When we
Of
talk about
course.
ChatGPT, we've kind of
So
commercialized the term prompting.
So the important part about this and why we're sharing with you guys the development done to ChatGPT is that now we'll have API integration, meaning that it's now open to a lot of different companies to leverage it and build their own AI tools. Similar to how we use this engine to power Microsoft Copilot, it's important to know the development being done to this tool because as you enhance it and learn it even more, then you get to the specifics, which is prompting. Now, I will get into a couple of examples of prompting, but before I do so, I want to let you guys know that prompting is one of the biggest keys to getting chat gpt or AI in itself to work for you, right? This is a huge large database where it has a lot of different keywords, a lot of different phrases, a lot of different ways to get information, but you have to talk to it. The more curious that you are, the more prompts that you give it, the better you're asked certain questions, or the more specific that you get, the more granular your answer would be, the more tailored it would be to what you wanted to do. And that's the power of AI, where with prompting and what you're doing, the more you learn about how to prompt properly, it's the more you're able to create more, you're able to code more, create new things, make sure the information is very accurate to what you're saying. So prompting is a very, very important part. And some examples for the prompting I have here today. So let's say some real life examples, right? Last minute birthday plans. For those that do know me, my birthday is next month in June. So I happen to ask chat, hey chat, me and my friends want to take a vacation in the summer. My birthday's coming up next month and we're running out of time. We're almost at the end of May of how time is flying by. I want to book something cheap. Can you give me some suggestions of where I could even go or how much it would be? And in a matter of minutes, chat was able to provide me not only options internationally, but also domestically with tips on how to book these type of flights or trips into looking for it, right? Am I looking for something more cost effective? Am I looking to spend a little bit more but go to sunny California? Or do I like mountains versus just a good time and good drinks with some friends, right? It provides me different options and you can have a conversation about it, right? It even helps save my butt sometimes with emails to my boss, right? Nico has gotten a couple of emails from me. So I write chat, when I'm sick and I'm not feeling well, I'm like, hey, chat, do you think you can help me write an email with proper grammar and delivery to my boss? So I write, yo, boss, hope you had a nice day and the webinar is going to be tight. Anyways, I hope fam's good. Peace out. Right? Chat's going to make me look like an educated young man that I am. And he's going to say, dear Nicolas, I trust this message finds you well and you've had a productive day filled with exciting updates regarding the upcoming webinar, right? And share a little personal note that I hope everything's good with your family. And P.S., here's something exciting for you. So that just goes to show the creativity that you can do behind AI, right? Not only if you get this block or this wall block of creative thinking where what should I say, how should I deliver this, how should I explain myself, how should I put this into word, and at least you can grab a concept from chat gpt or AI in general and then create it and tweak it even more to what you're able to say, right? It at least kicks starts off to what you want to do. And I wanted to get a bit creative, right? So how can I demonstrate the power of AI and get creative with you guys by showing it to you, right? Better than showing you with AI Snoop, right? So I went ahead and asked Chat AI, super simple. Hey, Chat, explain AI to a kid like Snoop Dogg. So ChatGPT went ahead and wrote this whole thing, and I used the power of AI to mimic his voice, like if Snoop was actually giving us a presentation on AI. Let's listen in here. Now, just picture the creativity of that. You could use whichever celebrity you wanted to do. You can. It starts to learn how they talk, how they deliver themselves. You've seen AI songs and ghostwriting hit the market and hit the news, right? Even pictures are created or generated that make it seem like they're very real. That looks like Snoop is actually having an actual interview about AI in person, right? And it's scary to see how it can mimic certain things and make it look very real life, like if it's actually happening. Now, diving into what are the everyday challenges that we deal with that AI could possibly help, right? You could think about communication barriers. The first thing that comes to my mind are my parents, right? born and raised in Colombia. My parents, them as well, and it's hard for them to communicate sometimes. When seeing big words in English or getting their thoughts across and translating or having a full conversation with someone. And I have educated my mom on an AI on like you could just talk to it and translate it as much as you like. Hey, this is the message that I wrote in this language. Please translate it into English or this language. I do it all the time with my coworkers and surprise them with my French skills by writing them a long message and always translating and giving them to them. Another thing that you could also do it is for information overload. Let's say you guys have a big book or project or a huge document you want to read or skim through. Hey, chat, hey AI, can you guys do me a favor? Can you summarize this for me, right? What are the key takeaways? What are the key points, right? To access healthcare, let's say you guys don't know what's going on, you guys need some medical advice in which you need something quick. What should we do? Are these good? I use AI all the time with my dogs, and I'm like, hey AI, can I feed my dog grapes? Can I feed them this sort of fruit? Can I do this, right? What effects have you seen with this? And you have that information at your hands and what you're able to do, right? For resource management and workplace efficiency, I put the little picture of grammar police important because it's true. You want to make sure that you're properly delivering your words or what you're trying to explain, or let's say you're sending an email to a very important client. You want to be professional. Well, all of these are available to you, not only on the resource part where you need to answer a quick question and you want to sound like an expert in front of your clients and get that information right away, but not only that, but on the workplace efficiency, right? How many of us have been stuck on an email at work, have taken time to either do a certain project or write a certain essay for school? It provides that level of efficiency that whatever you could do, you could utilize it and get more work done, use more time throughout your day to either become a specialist in a specific field, work on a specific project. But it provides that level of efficiency internally that people look for and what they need. Now, the big elephant in the room, right? Will AI take our jobs, right? It's the biggest question asked. And, I want to make sure that we touch upon this subject because it's very important. And when people ask, will AI take our jobs? I basically like to be straight up and say yes and no, right? When I mean by yes is AI is gonna replace people, and you guys are gonna see it later on in the different slides. AI is gonna replace people that are not leveraging AI. What I mean by that is, since it does help with the effectiveness within the workplace, it's gonna reduce those redundant tasks, those tasks that you're spending time, pulling in notes together, note taking, organizing, different file sharing. Those redundant tasks that we see in the workforce will be replaced. But what that means is a positive for your business because you get to be more productive, you get to be more organized in your realm and in where you work, and you get to do a lot of different things. So the way I compare it to is AI is the seasoning that won't taste good without the chef, right? You are the main chef. You know the outcome of what you want. You want this project delivered, you want this meal cooked, and AI is the seasoning, right? Everybody could just put chicken in the oven, cook it, and then come out, and it's going to taste like bland chicken. But it's important when you put the seasoning on it that it complements, it creates opportunities for you, it augments to your reality and what you want to do, right? Not only that, but we're also going to need ethical and regulatory compliance. They're going to need a human element controlling this AI, making sure that it's not biased. It's not picking up on malicious things. It doesn't respond to negative or bad words or connotations, so it doesn't start going out and being more and more accurate. And there's also limitations to the tool. When it comes to AI, it's still ever so evolving. I mean, recent updates have just been released. It's growing. And so it's important to get ahead of the curve. And, you are in control to doing all of that, right? It's only going to taste better, your food. It's only going to be more productive. It's only going to be a benefit to your productivity on a day to day, right? And what that causes is the business will boom, right? So ways that you can leverage it to really grow and expand your business is that you now have your own personal sales strategy builder, right? Hey, chat, this market that I'm expanding to in the Himalayas, right? What are the biggest things that the Himalayan people do and they like? And let me learn a little bit more about their culture. In a couple of minutes, you can learn detail by detail of what they like, what the trends that they see, what are some statistics. You could also have a personal teacher or coach. Hey, Chad, I want to specialize a little bit on this area of cybersecurity. Can you tell me a little bit more about different classes or courses that I'm able to take? Right? Go ahead and do the research yourself, enrich yourself with this knowledge. And more important than anything, it can increase the workforce, and your employees, they can get a lot more tasks done. You can be more productive in your day to day, use your time wisely, and of course, accelerate your productivity. Now, with accelerating your productivity and recapping everything together with AI, right? This is sort of like an intro to what we're expanding to see and what we're going to see. It's not going to go away. It's only going to be developed even more, right? And we want to make sure that first of all, we get ourselves familiar with AI. Second, we start learning a little bit more about how we can leverage it on our day-to-day basis, right? What are the tasks that I'm dealing with? What are my difficulties? What are my challenges? Can AI come in here and relieve some of those challenges that I'm having and increase the productivity within my workforce? And also have an action plan, right? What are the goals for the future? How am I planning to leverage this and get ahead of the curve? But with that being said, I want to introduce now the world of Microsoft Copilot with Nico. Nico, take it away.
Thank you very much, Juan. By the way, if you have any questions, there's a Q&R box in the upper left-hand side where you can ask questions. We are going to answer throughout the conversation, but we'll also take the time at the end of the presentation as well to answer your questions. So feel free to just put them in, and someone from the team or Juan and I will answer the questions. So what is Microsoft Copilot? We talked about AI, talked about productivity mostly, optimization of resources. So Copilot is Microsoft's version of AI. Copilot is not one product. As usual, Microsoft makes it complicated. Copilot is a series or a family of products, as you can see here. So these are a few SKUs that you can get with Copilot. Think of it the same way as Microsoft 365 or Office 365. As soon as Microsoft releases products like that, they brand everything with Copilot in the term. So you're going to see it more and more. It's just the beginning of the development of Copilot. What you're going to see here, the main plans that we're going to talk about is Copilot free, the free version that's available for everyone, Copilot in Edge, Copilot for M365, which is the paid version that people are looking for. But quickly, you have access to Copilot Pro. Copilot Pro is for individual use only. So it has no link to a Microsoft tenant. It has no link to an organization. It's really limited to someone alone without a company that wants to use Copilot with the applications. As an example, a financial broker. If you're alone, financial broker is doing his own business, he wouldn't need to have the full-blown version of M365 Copilot because they can only use it for their own environment, their own documents saved in OneDrive and SharePoint. You also have Copilot for Sales. Copilot for Sales is an additional feature you can purchase. It is an integration with 2 CRMs for now. So Dynamics, obviously, which is Microsoft, and Salesforce. So it gives you insight in Outlook for the customer. So it goes and checks the CRM, pulls information and says, gives you insights or tips, tricks, or anything like, hey, you haven't talked to Juan in a few weeks. It might be the time to reach out to the customer. So a lot of fun things to do with that, but it's not the goal of the conversation here. And the last one is interesting. The last one, Copilot Studio, is really a studio where you can create your own Copilot experience. So what that means is as you develop it, as you work in it, you could create your own prompts, create your own answers to prompts, create your own structure. It really allows you to build it as you want for your own organization. So it's really one step above just deploying Copilot as a tool. Think of it this way. If you want to have specific chatbots, answers, and workflows done through it, you could do it through Studio. You only need to develop and put in the time to build the content there. So really the presentation will be about, like I said, Copilot free, Copilot in Edge, and M365. I'm going to start right away with Copilot free. This is something, and I encourage you to do it while you're looking at the presentation right now, but if you go on copilot.microsoft.com, everyone has access to Copilot here. What is it? Same thing as ChatGPT. You're going to see the differences in a few minutes. You have access to prompting. So prompting is, Juan went over it a bit before, but prompting is really asking, demanding. It's like questions you send to the AI tool, giving you then answers through the LLM, through their model, and through their research motor. This version is available for anyone. It's personal. It's not linked in to your Microsoft environment, your organization, or whatsoever. And as you can see, on the the right-hand side, there's different applications you can use as well. Designer is to create content. So if you want to create visual content for marketing, if you want to create flyers and stuff like that, you have the ability to do it. As you can see, you have a personal trainer, you have different things. And like I said, this is free for everyone out there. So I highly encourage you to use this or to try it at least if you're not used to AI, or even compare it to ChatGPT if you're used to using ChatGPT. The second one, which is the most important one so far, other than the full-blown stack, is Copilot in Edge. Why Edge? Edge is Microsoft's browser. When you log in Copilot in Edge, so same thing, copilot.microsoft.com, but then you link your Microsoft account, it's going to then protect, as you can see here, the content. So if you go on ChatGPT, if you go on Copilot General and ask questions, put in information and put in text to modify, it is going to feed the machine, right? It's going to feed the LLM. It's going to feed the machine in the back. It's going to train itself on what you've been providing. And on a large scale, everyone that's inputting documentation or information, it's feeding that machine in the back. When you do it in Copilot and Edge, this is something that restricts the information to your own tenant. So it's not feeding the machine. It's not doing anything else. It's not giving your personal information to any other Microsoft potential customer or any Microsoft machine. It's really limited to your own organization and data, which is very, very important if you want to use tools like ChatGPT and Copilot. One thing to note is you can, well, in fact, I highly recommend you restrict maybe ChatGPT and then encourage employees to at least leverage Copilot that's there. It's free also. It's free as long as you have any Microsoft license that includes the basic Entra ID or Azure AD. So if you have Business Basic, Business Premium, and above, you have the license for Copilot like this here. So once again, if you want to log in onto this, you probably have Microsoft right now for your email. You can go to copilot.microsoft.com. In the right-hand side like this here where you see the red circle, you can log in your own account, and then you're protecting your data to your own organization and your own conversations. So Copilot and Edge, basically, same thing as ChatGPT. And I'm going to get to it afterwards, but you can summarize PDFs, you can prompt to draft email, social content. You could create pretty much anything into it. Think of it like a boosted or a Google on steroids, like ChatGPT. You can learn new skills. You can ask to deconstruct anything that's more complex. So anything you want to do that you do through ChatGPT, you could do in Copilot and Edge. Then you're protecting your organization. So the main differences are really there. So corporate data is protected in Edge. As long as you're logged in your account, your data is not saved. It's not training the model. It's just left to your own organization. You can access powerful AI models. So the great thing is that you have access to GPT-4. GPT-4 is the engine, you can say, in the back of ChatGPT, this payable version, right? But you have that for free in Copilot. So you're not paying 20, 30 bucks a month for ChatGPT 4. You're getting it included in Copilot for free. So there's no additional cost for M365 users. And the great thing about Copilot compared to, let's say, ChatGPT is you have more references. So when you ask information, it's always going to give you the references at the bottom. I had a company talk to us recently telling us that they were using it to see what competitors are doing. So here's what I'm trying to work on: find competitors with with references on their websites talking about this and this project. So that allowed them to kind of differentiate from the competition and take the information they had with the references they had. So if you're asking yourself, what's the difference between ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot? Microsoft Copilot, like I said, protects your data. So it's not training the machine. It doesn't make up the machine. It uses the same engine. So it uses the paid engine from ChatGPT, but for free in Copilot. You don't have access to the new features that Juan mentioned before with the video and the camera. That's coming up. You can generate images, same thing as you do through the paid version of ChatGPT called DALL-E, and it gives you references. So there's no reason for you to use ChatGPT if you have access to Copilot in the office. A lot of our customers are now restricting their whole environment for ChatGPT, and they're now pushing Edge with Copilot with employees. The big question is, what is Copilot for 365? So I talked about Copilot in Edge, Copilot as a whole, the free version. Copilot for 365 is really the whole AI smart assistant that comes with the Microsoft applications. So think of it this way: Copilot in Edge is really the web part. Copilot in 365 is really the integration with all the applications that you use in the day-to-day. So when we're talking about Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, Teams, all these applications you're probably using, well, now you can all work with this and the web AI tool to make it as productive as possible. The great thing also is it integrates your company data and all your documentation, all your information, as you're going to see, and your security boundaries. So if you're set up properly in the Microsoft environment, then you're set up properly in Copilot to go search in everything that you have, all the documentation, and then go search on the web to get more information. So really think of it this way, Copilot for 365 is a productivity tool for your organization. We talked a bit about LLMs, large language models, a bit before. LLMs are basically big databases of words, structured phrases, languages, and all that does is it feeds then the answers that you get to have the most natural language possible when you ask prompts. The Microsoft Graph is your data. As you're going to see a bit after, your data is everything that you have through Outlook, your emails, your calendars. It could be your OneDrive, your personal OneDrive. It could be SharePoint. Anything that you're using in the Microsoft environment is now available through the graph part in Copilot for 365 for you to really leverage everything together simultaneously. You have also access, obviously, to the apps, and it's all linked to the internet, right? So that is Copilot for M365. So the web part with the whole your data part with all the M365 applications. I'll show you a more complex one a bit after, but quickly what this shows is the interaction and the workflow between the different parts. So when you prompt from our Microsoft 365 apps, let's say you're on Word, as I'm going to show you in a few minutes, it then sends the prompt to Microsoft Graph, which is your data, like I mentioned. So emails, files, anything that you have that's on your environment. It then filters out, checks for the information it's looking for, and then goes to the LLM, so the big database of language, to go and get the proper answers, proper wordage, proper structured phrases, and then feeds it back to M365 in the applications. I'm going to show you a bit later of what it does specifically in the different applications. So first off, so like I said, I'm going to show you, let's say for Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and a few apps like Teams. There's many more features. The goal was not to spend half an hour on it, but I want to show you what you can do, what possibilities you have with M365 Copilot. The first one is with Outlook. As you can see here, you can summarize emails. So based on the email here, very long email from our Microsoft rep informing us on all the different things, latest discussions, trends. What I did here is I selected the email. I asked Copilot to summarize it. And in a matter of seconds, it gave me the breakdown, the detailed breakdown of what's been discussed in the email and the email chain linked to this one there. So as you can see here, it gives me the information on what's been told by Brittany, our rep, the discussions between Jason and I in our team, and then all these specifics with what Brittany mentioned in terms of the programs, upcoming projects, upcoming webinars or trainings like that. So that's for a simple email, although Microsoft's emails are never simple or gem-packed. But you can have very complex emails. I'll give you a good example. You come back from vacation. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of email. Well, you can go in the email chains and then summarize the entire chain. It's going to be bigger than the summary you have here, obviously, because you're going to get more information. But it's going to then feed you with all the timeline and all the information on what's been told, what's been done. Also, it's going to tell you if you need to intervene. So if there's any mention of, Nicolas should get back to us on this part, well, it is going to give you that highlight there where you need to intervene and then work on that part. So a lot of time saving, especially when you're catching up on emails. I don't know about you, Juan, but I'm usually booked back to back during the day. So if I have a chance to, condense the time I put in the emails afterwards, it's great.
No, this has definitely been a huge saver for me because it tells me exactly who suggested what, who posted what are the next follow-up items for what, and you could tweak it to your liking. So I've definitely leveraged that before for sure.
Once we, let's say you have the email there, you summarize the email, you want to respond to it, then you have the ability here in all the applications, by the way, Outlook, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, you have this small Copilot button, as you can see in red. And then by clicking on that, you can ask the Copilot to answer the email, basically. So it's going to take the context of the conversation. If it's a long conversation, it's going to filter through everything and then respond with an answer like you can see here. If you're not interested on using it, if you want to change it, then you have the ability also to make it shorter, make it longer, or even change the tone in general. So as you can see here, I took the email on the left-hand side, asked it to be a bit more formal. And then here's the email I get on the right-hand side. So way more formal, works well. Like Juan showed a bit better before with the email to his boss, to me. So once again, it's only a couple features you can get in Outlook. If you want more information, we're available after. You can have a call with us or a team to dive into specifics, but it's a few key features you can get in each one. In Word, same thing as you do through ChatGPT, basically. You could create content, As you can see here, I asked Copilot to create a business plan for a new division we want to open, specializing in AI, education, deployment, enablement for an MSP provider. So that's what we do. So basically provide references and give me the information. So in a matter of a few minutes, it popped up a whole 10-page document with marketing strategies, and I cut off the text, but you can see different subjects. So financial plan, competitive analysis, even references to what they suggest we should be doing for that new division there. So very, very interesting what you can do with this. You could also summarize it. So same thing as we did with emails, you can summarize text. So if you go the other way around, someone sends you something, you have that long Word document or even a PDF document, you could then take it, summarize it in a few points, and then you have that information there at your disposal. Anytime you're in an application with Copilot for 365, you have that virtual assistant, as you can see here. So you can chat with someone, interact, ask questions, and they're going to get the information from obviously your environment, the web, and anything they can find on the subject that you have. You could also add content. Very interesting thing here. Obviously, it's all integrated with your Microsoft applications, so you could add up to 3 references or reference 3 different documents to one thing you're prompting. As an example, I could say, here's the business plan we're building right now. Take the Copilot deck that we're presenting right away, take the managed services proposal that we have, and let's say a presentation that we did last week, take the content into there and then add it in my presentation here or my document. And it's going to refer to all the information that you have in your organization and then feed it in the presentation or the document that you want. You could also use templates. So it is also going to use, if you have company templates for PowerPoint or Word, like we have, it could take your templates and put in your information and really have it branded like if you did the document yourself. So a lot of time saving here, especially when it comes to correcting, translating, when it comes to maybe even summarizing long text, long messages, long documents like this. So very, very interesting feature that you can have in Word. So what can I do in PowerPoint? Basically what I've just showed you with Word, but a bit more. So you could actually convert a document to a presentation. So that's a feature a lot of people have been asking for. So I could say, take my 10-page document that I've just created for my business plan, transform it into a PowerPoint deck, put in information, get information from a document that I'm referring to, and create images as well. And it's all going to do that for you in PowerPoint directly. So very, very interesting feature. For those of you that keep presenting things to either customers internally, very neat feature to just create easy PowerPoint slides. You could also create content. So you could create basically new PowerPoint slides from anything, any subject that you want. So same thing as we did before with the business plan or some prompts that Juan showed you. You could ask it to create a 20-page presentation on, let's say, AI and the use of AI for productivity. It is going to feed you the slide, the content, the whole structure, and it's also going to give you images as well that they create for you. Fun fact, by the way, all the images created by Copilot are supposed to be 100% custom. There should be no other identical image as you're getting when you're prompting. They are going to release a new feature in the upcoming features where it's going to be watermarked. So you're going to be sure that anything you use is not reused and feed it into other people prompting the same things. You could also add content from your business. Obviously, you could take your PowerPoint template. You could add things that you're referring to from other documents, whether it's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, anything else that you have, you could use it to feed it in the presentation you're doing. You create interactive tables, visuals, and fun thing, you could organize your content. So I could take, let's say, our presentation deck, our master presentation deck that we have that's over 75 slides, and say, organize it in a way where I'm really highlighting these key features for a presentation I have with the customer this week. And it's going to reframe it, it's going to change it, and it's going to remove a bit of slides or even add slides if you want to make it as more customized as possible, as tailored as possible. Then when we get to Teams, so Teams is a very, very interesting one. This could be a whole 30, 45-minute presentation. Teams is really where it stands out. And I'm going to show you a neat feature afterwards with Teams Premium. But what Copilot does when Teams is, one, it gives you a personal assistant. So when you're in conversations like this, I could basically ask questions to Copilot on what's been going on, what are these subjects or the key points that have been discussed so far, who's been talking. I can ask questions on the sentiment that the tool recognizes towards the people and the way people talk. So Is Juan interested in what I'm doing? Do you perceive it as positive outcome, or is it negative? Is there anything I should change? Where did it cut off? So there's a lot of things you can do during conversations. It allows you to really follow discussions in real time. You could summarize them. You could ask questions, like I mentioned. You take detailed notes. So obviously, one of the things is, especially for people like us, we're always in Teams meetings. Well, it gives you the ability to take notes for you. So it's going to transcribe the notes. It's going to give you that information there, and you'll be able afterwards to follow up and summarize the information that's been discussed during the presentation. There's a neat feature where you can prepare for a meeting. So you could ask Copilot, hey, I have a meeting, I have a webinar I'm giving on Copilot today. Please help me prepare for the webinar. Either refer yourself to XYZ document or any conversation I have, and it's going to go check anything within your Microsoft tenant to go and feed you the right information to help you with your meeting. The last one is very, very interesting. You could actually catch up on later missed meetings. So once you're more than one person in your organization that has Copilot, so let's say I invite Juan here to a meeting, Juan is unable to come to the meeting. Juan could either just refuse a meeting or follow the meeting. And by following the meeting, he has access to the full transcript, the summary, and the notes afterwards. Same thing as if you get in late during a call. So let's say you're 15 minutes late, you get in the call, you don't know what's been discussed so far, you want to catch up. You have the ability, if Copilot's been enabled with the transcription, to just click and summarize everything that's been set up to that point there when you're in. So really, it's more effective, more efficient as well when you're in meetings and you have the ability to catch up like that. There's also, as you're going to see, Teams Premium. Teams Premium will be discussed a bit later, but Teams Premium gives you a cheaper alternative just to benefit from AI for Teams specifically. As you can see here, it gives you a very detailed recap. So you could come back to specific moments. You could check when someone spoke. You could check any keywords. It's going to bring you back to that transcription, or even in that video there to that exact mark where the person mentioned a word or a specific subject. And Excel is pretty limited. There's a lot of development currently being done in Excel. So far, there's a few key features you can use. You can use the analyze data, identify insights. As you can see here, you could take chunks of data, ask for trends, ask for breakdowns, graphs, pivot tables, the type of things you do usually manually. You could do it now through Copilot. And you could generate formulas. So obviously, instead of going online or trying to find formulas, you can just Copilot, demand it, and get the information you need. You could also create presentations. So I mentioned the interaction between applications. You could go from Excel and then transfer to a PowerPoint and have all the information you need to present the findings or the financial information or any details you have here in Excel. So that was it for the applications. Once again, there's countless more. There's a lot of things you can do within the applications. Those are the ones I find interesting or that I've played around with over the last few months with the team. There's also one interesting thing that Microsoft allows you to do through Copilot Lab. If you have access to Copilot because you purchased the Copilot license, you can go in a lab here where you can select what prompts you should be doing. So it's going to give you really information on how to prompt for specific applications or how to prompt even for specific subjects or key objectives that you have. So I want to create content or catch up. Well, how do I catch up in, let's say, Teams? And it's going to give you the right questions to ask Copilot to get the optimal outcome. So that's free for anyone that has Copilot. So a lot of things, a lot of features. What's important before doing anything here is really preparing your environment. I'll give you a few examples on why you should prepare for it, because it's not just deploying a tool. Using Copilot Online for now is perfect, even if you're using the free one or the protected one, because it doesn't get into your personal company data. But as we deploy M365 Copilot, that's where it's important to prepare your environment. So what you want to do before deploying it at large is really review your policies, your user-based access. You want to review your organizational data. You want to make sure that everything that you have is only giving access to the right people and not everyone in the company. With Teams now creating SharePoint sites, with SharePoint having multiple sites and shares and people giving accesses and OneDrive links being shared around, it's very easy to get lost into there. So it's easy for someone to have access to something they should not have. So it's very important for you to structure your Microsoft tenant in an optimal way before deploying something like Copilot at large. I'll give you an example I had recently with one of our customer that has a lawyer office. So they realized a few weeks ago that some of their lawyers were using ChatGPT to correct, to translate, to modify clauses in contracts for very sensitive data customers. So they were just going online and copy and pasting the documents and then asking for prompts to be able to get better things. So they actually restricted ChatGPT and then pushed Copilot for free into there. Another example of why you should prepare your environment is, I'll give you another example we've seen recently. A project team within a big organization we know wanted to add Copilot licenses, so they've asked for everyone to add it. So 7 licenses for the members of their team, but it's the project team. They're not the execs, they're not directors of anything. It's really the project team driving in the back. And the project team enabled the licenses. And then within the same week, they realized that they were able to ask questions in their SharePoint around, HR documents. So what is Juan's salary? What is Juan's contract with Cellulant? And very detailed information that they should not have access to. So as soon as they realized it, they just blocked M365 Copilot for everyone, and they're now deploying the proper structures and the role-based access to make sure that everything's done properly. So very, very important. I showed this before. This one is a bit more complex, but just for your comprehension, this is the interaction between the M365 apps. You have the middle that's Copilot. It then sends it to Graph, like I said. So your data, your info goes through the LLM and then feeds you back the answers. What's important in this one here is to understand the service boundary. So the dotted line that you can see around it is your Microsoft 365 service boundary. So anything that you've set up in your environment, your user-based access, your structure, your permissions, is available through Copilot as well. So as I've just mentioned, if you have access to old data or anything that's you should not have access to, it's now the time to make sure you structure it properly and set the right roles and permissions before having a tool like this run in your environment. So what needs to be checked quickly? You need to validate the prerequisites. So right now, the great thing is licenses above. It's actually business basic and above. So any license, basic license, you can have the M365 Copilot add-on to it. You have to make sure you have the latest updated M365 versions, and also you're using the right applications in the 365 level. The main points are really the review of your security settings. So do your users have the right access? Is Juan able to access personal information from other employees? Am I able to go in and see something that's not in my department or not my tasks? So very, very important for you to do so. Review the SharePoint environment. So like I said, structure, make sure the data is accessible, but also archiving. So you don't want to feed old information into the machine. So make sure you archive anything that's legacy. I'll give you an example, an old product sheet or anything that's the pricing sheet or anything that's no longer in use. And you want to put in place the right solution. So with Microsoft, obviously with data loss prevention, DLP, and different tools, you want to secure your business data to the Microsoft environment. So how do we do it? Quickly, we connect with you. We have these initial discussions where we scope out what you want to do, who you want to deploy it for. And then we go into really the analysis of your environment. So like I said, connect to your tenant, perform the scripts, analyze your environment, then get a full report of what you have in terms of SharePoint sites, accesses, permissions. And from there, we really provide recommendations and put them into place to ensure that your organization is ready for such a tool. And then we phase the rollout and make sure that we do it properly with the right users.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Nico. And then for the sake of time, I know we're almost coming up on time and I want to get some of you guys' questions answered, but I also want to highlight the important part of it, right? Why should you even make this investment for your business? Why is Copilot so important for you? And the reason why is because it's tailored to you, right? AI is not going to go anywhere. It's just going to continue developing and growing even more, right? You can use the generalized one, which is ChatGPT that everybody has access to, or you can get on top of it right now and use a Copilot, which is a version that it's tailored to where you live and breathe in right now, what you're using, which is your whole entire environment, your emails that you have to constantly check, your teams that you have to constantly communicate with your team members with, and which you're making them more valuable and effective, right? Not only that, but you're making your clients' transactions more valuable and effective. You could get them documents like that. You know what happened at every exact meeting. You have a recording for it. You could take notes. You can pick up on different cues you might have left off before. So you now have a full-blown virtual assistant helping you out with your day-to-day tasks, right? Now, preparing you for the era of AI is you need to start off by realizing what are your goals with using AI, right? It's like if I get a Ferrari, okay, what am I going to do now? Am I going to pay the expensive insurance? Do I go burn the tires off now? And you have to take in a lot of different costs, right? Things are going to happen, you could use it for certain things, but you do have a Ferrari in your garage right now. So you got to understand, what do you want to do with it? What are the organizations that you want for your the goals that you want for your organization, right? How can they use it and they leverage it on their day to day, right? Can they get tasks done? Can they get meetings scheduled, right? Is this for prospecting, right? How are we going to leverage this? And then utilize those capabilities and make sure that you can join together forces with AI, have a strategy and plan in place, and make sure to have everything like us in place as well within your team, advising you on how to get things done and how to progress and move forward, right? And some upcoming features that we do see, if you go on the O365 roadmap, you can go ahead and see the different types of development that's being done towards Copilot specifically, or any tool within the O365 suite. So if you go right now, in which we encourage you, you could see that almost 74 different development updates have been going on, and the 6 have been rolling out, 27 already have launched. So this is a tool that's constantly being developed, it's being tweaked and specialized to your liking for sure.
I like to say it's like Excel when Excel was out, or Teams when it got out, right? So very limited features, and it developed to it. So as we get along, there's going to be more and more features, more interesting things, especially since I'd say the vast majority of the companies are using M365 already. We wanted to finish off with a few tips and tricks. So for anyone regarding AI in general, or even Copilot specifically, first one being start small. If you're deploying tools like Copilot, what you want to do, first off, we mentioned it, but prepare and secure your environment. You want to also start with a few key users. So ideally what you want is to pick and choose the ones that really would contribute the most to their role, their tasks, their daily activities. And you want to meet together and discuss your findings. That's where we see the best success with the customers so far. So, have maybe a 2-week call with the team internally, and then discuss, what have you seen? Is there anything I could use? Is there any feature that I'm not aware of? And that's where you really develop that knowledge share and gain traction. Use Copilot. Like I said, it's free. It's something that you have access to right now. You can use the one that's free for anyone, or you can even use the one that's ideally the one that's linked to your organization. So a very small tip, interesting one, but it's worth it compared to if you're using ChatGPT, or even paying $30 a month for ChatGPT. One major one is really improve your prompts. So we mentioned it before. Prompts are demands or questions you ask the machine or the tool. What you want to do is have structure into it. So the more detailed you are, the better the responses are. If you're just asking general questions, you're going to get general answers. And one thing I did not get correct in the previous presentation I did, though, it's important to know that the more polite you are with it, the more polite your answers are going to be with it. What I mentioned before was, however you want to ask the questions, if you're blunt or not, it's going to give you the same response. It's not true. It actually tailors the responses, especially in Copilot, to the way you're asking questions. So if you're asking, hey, can you please give me more information on this and this? It's going to say, hey, for sure, here's more information on X, Y, Z. If you're just going blunt, it's going to give you blunt answers as well. So you want to figure out what the goal of your prompt is. You want to have more context into it. So here's what I'm trying to do. Give me more information on X, Y, Z, or create content. You want to put your expectations as well. So here's what I'm looking for. If you're just, once again, asking something in general, it's going to give you general. If you're saying, I want to have maybe a detailed presentation guide for a deck that I want to build on XYZ subject, it's going to give you that information. And you could ask sources, or even reference sources, whether it's internal or external sources. You always have that extra layer that you could add on top. I mentioned Teams Premium a bit before. It's less than $10 a month. Very worth it if you want to just start off with that, especially for the meeting part, like I said, with transcript, with recaps of emails, with all the intelligent part. Feel free to reach out to us, or you can check through Microsoft Teams Premium. It's highly worth it for the price that you get. And as you go along, eventually you can then upgrade to M365 Copilot.
Yeah, of
Juan,
course. And,
I'll give you the
most
last word.
important, Yeah, most importantly, and we did great on time, embrace it, right? Embrace AI. It's something, it's scary whenever we have encounter something new. It's always going to be scary. But like I said, remember, AI won't replace people. People using AI will replace people, right? You still need the human approach. You still need to be kind. You still need to be delivering. You need to have that person in place, letting you know what you want, how you want it, and in the time frame that you want it at as well, right? You will not go anywhere, and this is only going to open up more opportunities for you, right? The opportunities are endless. The more you can learn something new today, the more you can start a new strategy with your team and your business. You know, the more you could do some research, finding out about a specific market that you're growing or you're expanding into. And technology changes every single day. This is nothing new. This is nothing out of the norm. We've went through the advancement of the internet, of phones, of now everybody has an iPhone where you go, everybody can get connected via FaceTime. And just imagine on the advancements that have done in the past that we now we don't even think about it, and it's on our day to day, right? And the faster you learn about AI and you leverage it, the more you'll be ahead of the curve, the more you'll be able to do something new for your business, do something interesting, do something that makes you stand out. And more importantly, it provides a level of value that you can take and you can grow with it every single day. But with that being said, of course, do we have any questions from anybody? We'll open up this last 5 minutes for any questions that you guys might have for Nico and I. But Fernando, will we get an email following up with pricing and such if you are interested in getting a couple of licenses? We,
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah,
So we're going to follow up also with the link to the recordings for those that were late or want to share it, and you'll get the presentation deck as well with the pricing.
yeah, most definitely. And we're always going to be an extension to you guys and whatever questions you guys want to have. If you have a specific project in place, if let's say this didn't answer, some of the questions that you guys had in mind coming into this webinar, feel free to let us know. Would be more than happy to have a sit down, schedule some time, and see how we're able to leverage Copilot within your environment. Yeah.
Very good
So,
question. Where's the data stored? That would be stored in the Microsoft data centers. And
mhm.
what about the data leaks as this is corporate information. So once again, this is Microsoft. So they are highly certified. They're compliant to different requirements. And obviously, it's one of the most secure cloud solution you can get.
Yep, most definitely. Not only that, but you're also having the power of Cellular being managed on our end. So any sort of consulting, any sort of cybersecurity work that you need in place, let's say you're meeting certain regulations, standpoints, or compliance needs for your business that you must adhere to, that's where we step in on the Cellular side, provide a level of either information on what we need to do to get to where you want to be, or the proper steps on how to get there as well.
Exactly. And
Great
there are
question.
features in Microsoft's environment, such as DLP, allowing you to label documents and ensuring that data is not communicated outside of your organization. So other than just Copilot in general, let's say I could prevent anything going out with specific keywords, a specific context from going out of the organization, whether it's Juan sending emails or take someone copy and pasting in another part. So a lot of things to do with Intune, with DLP, and different Microsoft 365 security features.
Yep, most definitely. And it
All
looks like
right.
we're almost up. Yeah, one more minute. Well, if we wait for any last minute questions that pop up, I like to say from my point of view, we do have one more question for Simon. So right now, the only version we can use is the free version. The Copilot for 365 is not usable unless we purchase a license for it.
That's correct. Yeah.
Hmm.
And currently, the way you're going to see it, you can see it online, or we're going to follow up with pricing. But currently, the Copilot 4 365 license is paid upfront. So it's at a cost of $488, I believe. And you have to pay for the whole year in advance. It could be switched to different users. You could use it for one person and then change it eventually. But it's not paid month to month as you do with the other licenses for now. Question from Fernando. Another question, if I get autopilot, or I'm assuming you're referring to Copilot, does it include Teams Premium? The answer is no. I could go back quickly to the slide here that we had for Teams. It's going to show you here that some features are included. but it's really the combination of both that gives you the optimal outcome. So as you can see here in the slide, Teams Premium will give you the intelligent recaps, transcriptions, recordings, and the timestamps in the conversations. Copilot will give you the transcripts and will allow you to ask questions on the conversation, whether during the conversation or after, but it won't give you the full detailed video timestamps with the intelligent recap though.
Perfect. Great question, Fernando. Thank you for that.
All right.
Excellent. But yeah, would like to thank everybody for coming along to the webinar today. Of course, feel free to leverage Nicolas and I for our level of expertise to answer any questions that you guys might have, any ones or twos after the webinar. We appreciate, of course, your time out of your busy day to come and get a chance to listen in, have a conversation with us regarding AI and all these important new things that are hitting the market and impacting us on our everyday. Of course, I'd like to thank Nicolas for helping me get this opportunity to present to everybody on leveraging the world of AI and Copilot. But thank you, everyone, most importantly. And yeah, I'll give it to you, Nico.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. And as I said, we're going to be following up. We'll send an email here with information, with the links for the video and for the presentation deck as well.
Solulan, la face cachée de votre succès. Solulan, la face cachée de votre succès.